What's up, guys? Welcome back to Hear Me Out. You may have noticed it's been a while. We had some issues that made it so we couldn't record anything for a couple of months, but we're back making episodes again. We're excited to start. And so we decided to start with a little bit of a fun one today. We want to start by talking about possible Washington football team names because they announced in 2022, early on in 2022, they're going to announce their new name, their new logo. So we wanted to go through some of the possible names, give our thoughts on them, and give our predictions on what we think it will or what we think it should be. So I pulled up a list of the names that the Washington football team sent to their season ticket holders to vote on these names. So this is coming from the team. I don't know if these are legit or not necessarily, but this comes from the team. So you can start with the name Aces. Washington Aces.
Terrible. That's a 1 out of 10.
Hate it.
Yeah, that's
Disgusting.
that is
It sounds like an AAU basketball team. It's disgusting, and it shouldn't even be on the list. That's a 1 out of 10.
Yeah,
that one's bad.
we'll pretend you didn't read that one, and we're going to start with the real number one.
All right, so the real number one is the Ambassadors.
Okay, that might be worse.
Yeah, I agree.
Okay, we got a -1 now because that sucks.
we got a negative one. And I'm going to say right now, like right off the bat, any potential name that's like political or military-esque at all is going to get a 0 out of 10 for me. I hate it.
All right.
I hope they don't go that direction. You can read them, and then I'll just express my disgust. But
so this
I got
next
a 1
one
and a -1 so far.
This next one will be good then. The Washington Anchors.
I actually like anchors. I like it. I like the Vanderbilt anchor down that they have for their defense. I like the anchors. I'm gonna give that a 7 out of 10.
I don't hate it. I wouldn't say I like it. It probably gets like a 4 out of 10 for me. It's not bad.
This is one of the worst on the list so far for me. I would go 2 out of 10. The Washington Archers.
That's garbage. That's a 3 out of 10 for me. That's a garbage name.
That one's probably 5 out of 10 for me. I like that better than the Anchors. I'm not like, ooh, whoa, we found it, guys. But that one to me is better than the Anchors. Maybe just because when I think of like the Anchors, I think of like a small wrist tattoo that says like "Don't sink with an anchor."
That's what I think of.
Even though that's what anchors do, you know.
And
I'm like,
about
brother.
like you're talking about a football team that needs to be like in the trenches, getting dirty, and you're like, no, we're the Archers. We're the guys standing like 1,000 yards back, flinging arrows. Like, no, that's just not a football team name.
Yeah, I don't know. When I hear Archers, like the first thing that comes to my mind is like ancient Grecian archers. I don't know. That's probably stupid. If they go with like old Greek type deal, I think it could be cool. And that's what I thought of. I wasn't thinking of like some like Robin Hood guy with like Peter Pan boots shooting a slingshot. So I don't know. That's fair, I guess.
All right, next one, the Washington Armada.
I kind of like that one too. I like that one too. I'm gonna give that a 7.
I do like that one. That one's probably like a 6.5, 7.
I'll go 7 out of 10. I'll go 7
one.
out of 10 on that as well. I think that's a cool name. It being a military or a Navy term specifically is a little, but
I like it though. It's
yeah,
unique.
but
The Armada's unique.
I kind of like it.
Yeah,
and it makes for a good fan base name too. So
the Washington
yeah.
Beacons.
Oh, that's garbage. That sounds like some
Dude.
low for-profit Christian university in the backwoods of Alabama. We're gonna be a beacon of light to the world. That's no. That's a -5. That's.
It really does. The Washington, a lamp unto my feet.
The Washington Cups runneth over.
The Washington one set of footsteps.
Oh man, yeah, that one's bad.
Oh brother, yeah, that's a 2 out of 10.
0.
And that's me being in a
0
good
out
That's
of
mood
10.
a -5. That's garbage.
The Washington Commanders.
I hate it. I hate the Commanders.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, I don't. It's not like a strong hate. That's like a 4 out of 10 for me. 3.5 maybe.
I give it a 2.
I don't hate it, but I definitely wouldn't get my vote. So.
The Washington Defenders.
I like the Defenders. I like the Defenders.
I like that one.
I do think it kind of gives off like a high school vibe, but
It gives off the
does.
XFL
I mean, that
vibe
was-
because the Washington
Yeah,
XFL
that was the
teams, the
XFL
Defenders.
teams.
I'm gonna say 5 out of 10.
I'm torn. Okay, because I don't know if I should stick to like an objective ranking where 10 I love and 1 I hate, or if it should scale based on these names, because most of these names have been dumpster water. So like compared to the rest of these names, it's like an 8, 9, But I would probably give it like a 7.
Every name should be its
So I'm gonna stick
every
with a
name
7.
should be its own individual scale, like you're rating songs. The first
I'm gonna give that one a 7
That's
and
a
a
5
half,
out of 10
just so
for
it's
me.
my.
First City Football Club, or FCFC.
That is so stupid and so terrible. I don't even count that as a name. Like,
It's not.
Yeah, that one to me is a bit of a troll. Like they were supposed to come up with X number of names, but they had the intern do it, and the intern was definitely not doing his assignment.
it would be a
and
bad soccer
started throwing
name.
stuff
Like,
in.
soccer has names similar to that, and it would be bad for a soccer club.
I agree.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to give that one a 0 out of 10.
Yeah.
1
Let's
out of
go.
10, yeah.
I can't even rate it. I don't even consider it a name.
The Washington Griffins.
The what?
The Washington Griffins.
Like the thing with a beak and
Assumably,
mythological-
or they're
Oh,
just naming
no.
themselves after a dude named Griffin.
No, this is either one. The naming it after a man named Griffin or naming it after the mythological creature is garbage. That's not gonna work for me.
They would earn my respect if they named it after some random man named Griffin. That would be hysterical. I kind of like it. I would probably give it a
I'm
5
going
out
2.
of 10.
2 out of 10.
honestly. I kind of like it.
The Washington Monarchs.
That one doesn't even make sense to me. We've never had a monarchy. And why? That doesn't make any sense. I'm not against the name Monarchs. I think it could be good, but like,
Yeah, it could be a
doesn't
cool
make
name.
sense.
It's just why
Like the London football team
Yeah, exactly. Literally anywhere, but
with the
even
European
another
NFL.
state, even any other state than Washington, it makes a little bit more sense.
yeah.
But
like Washington was
specifically
founded on the
DC.
principles of not having a monarchy.
Yeah, it's just
You know what? Revolution, baby. 6 out of 10 for me. I did.
I don't hate the name. But I hate
don't
the name
hate the name
for the
either.
Washington football team.
I agree.
I can
Within the
appreciate
context of what they're doing it for, it makes no sense. But
Yeah.
No, I agree with that. But still, 6 out of 10.
this one has got to be the worst on the list. The Washington Presidents.
Oh, brother.
It's so corny.
-5.
It's
That-
so
-5 out of 10.
corny. I hate it. I'm gonna give it a -5 as well. It's gonna give it my lowest ranking. So
Yeah, -20.
-5.
The Razorbacks, the Washington Razorbacks.
I like it, but I don't like it because Arkansas already has that lockdown.
I agree.
You can't just
Yeah.
adopt like an iconic college team name because
I
it's
agree.
never gonna be your
Yeah,
name.
it's. I agree. It's too iconic. Like the Defenders, it's like, oh, that's the XFL team's name. But like, come on, they played one.
But like, if they're
season,
gonna
it's
name their
not
team the
that-
Crimson
but the
Tide, it's like,
Razorbacks.
come on, that guy.
You're right. Like the Blue Devils, like you
No.
can't do that.
I would.
So,
The name
yeah,
itself
I would
gets
give
an
it a-
8 out of 10 for me. I love the name Razorbacks, but they can't do that. They can't.
And it
I
fits
agree,
with
I
Washington
agree.
because it's a hog, and that's there's classic ties to Washington history with the hogs. So
Yeah,
It
I
would
get,
work
I get
very
it.
well.
I'm just saying you can't do it.
yeah, I agree. Name wise, I go 8 or 9 out of 10, but they just can't
Yeah.
do it. Washington Red Tails.
I love it. It's a 10 out of 10 for me. It's my favorite. I've told y'all before it's my favorite. I like the history behind it. I like the name. I like the colors. Everything about it's a 10 out of 10.
I like it. I think it's got good history. I think it's catchy. I think you could have some good marketing with it. I would give that one probably an 8 out of 10.
It has the
I think
social
that one's a
aspect
really
of like
thought out one.
atoning for having a racial slur as your name for a century.
Ooh, yeah,
it's
right.
just an
For
objectively
80
unique and
years.
great name. I'm all for it.
And it keeps. Oh, go ahead.
I like the name. I don't love it. It's a little corny to me. I think it would be weird to like root for a team called the Red Tails. Like saying "Go Red Tails" just sounds so.
You
odd
rooted
to
for
me.
a team whose name was a racial slur for a century, so
I know. I know, but we're beyond that now, and so I want it to be a good name to root for. I'll go like a 7, 8 out of 10. It's a good name. It's definitely high on my list of picks. Washington Red Wolves.
That one to me is a 9 out of 10. I like that one a lot. Wolf is my favorite animal. I like the imagery. Like, your background is sick. Like, I like Red Wolves a lot. That one to me is my favorite for their new name.
Red Wolves isn't terrible, but it screams high school to me, and I just don't. I don't see an NFL team as the Red Wolves. Although I do concede that it does match their already existing colors very well.
High school was my prime.
Red Wolves.
Anyone who knows me knows that that's probably
Red
true.
Wolves, obviously, tell by my background. That one's my favorite. I think the imagery is cool. Our logo would be cool. Our colors would be cool because we could start incorporating a little bit of like gray, silver into our uniforms, which would be really cool. And then you get cool marketing. You know, the fan base could be called like Wolfpack if you wanted. That's ways to engage. I've seen stuff of like when they score or, you know, fumble or recovery or something big happens in the game, the stadium could like howl. That could be really, really good for like home field advantage stuff. I think this name is by far the best and most complete name of anyone's they've offered. I would even be okay if they drop the Red Wolves and just were the Washington Wolves.
Okay, I like Wolves a lot better than Red Wolves. I do like Wolves a lot better than Red Wolves. I'll give it a 7 out of 10. I'm not totally opposed to it, but I'm also not totally on board with it.
Gotcha. Washington Red Hogs.
Red Hogs?
Yeah.
3 out of 10.
What the hell's a
I
red
hate
hog
that.
anyway?
I don't know.
This sounds like they're picking
hog that's
animals
red,
and they
I
just want to
guess.
keep that red prefix. So they're just
Yeah, I
slapping it
know.
in front of like.
Yeah.
Yeah, pretty much.
No,
I
that's
mean,
getting a 2 out of 10
yeah.
for me. I don't even know what the hell a red hog is.
I'll skip a couple because they're really similar to names before. The Washington. This one's so fucking stupid. The Washington Rising.
Oh my god.
That's getting
Oh my gosh. That.
On a scale
Rising.
from 1 to 10, a negative 23. It's the worst name I've ever heard for anything
That
ever.
literally sounds like a 13-year-old AAU basketball team that has a bad name. Like
That's the youth league basketball team that uses the Beacons gym for their summer league.
It sounds to me like this sounds like what a group of 13-year-olds would name their dodgeball team at church camp during the
Yeah,
summer.
exactly.
For the
Exactly.
dodgeball tournament.
Yeah.
like it's a bad name for
does.
13-year-olds.
It is. That's. I mean, that might be the worst name I've heard for anything that's in question.
No, Beacons is still worse.
Like,
The Beacons
at
is still worse, but Rising is pretty close.
Rising is what Beacon is at least a thing. A rising is an abstract concept. You can't be a rising. That's not a thing.
We are rising.
That's not
This
a
offseason, I'm
Washington
taking my
is
time to Washington
rising.
to be a Rising.
We're the sea levels. Rising.
Yeah, it doesn't even make sense. It makes sense if maybe Washington was like in the mountains or something.
I know, it makes no sense. Negative 50 out of 10.
Oh, horrible. Yeah.
This one's really fucking bad too. Washington Rubies.
Ruby, like the rock.
Like I think Indian currency, ruby.
Either the Indian currency or the
Indian-
gemstone,
okay,
and
first
either
of all,
way,
you
they're
morons,
awful.
The Indian currency is rupees, not rupees.
Oh yeah. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, you're right. You confused me, Jacob.
I was testing you guys. Make sure you're up to speed
Second of all,
on
both of them would be equally terrible names anyway. So
They would be.
your. Yeah, the
terrible.
Washington Rupees is not on the list. This is the Washington Rubies. Somehow, I don't know which is worse.
no, those are both pretty bad. I'm gonna give that probably a 2 out of 10.
Yeah, I was gonna
The
say
Washington Warriors.
You can't do it. You can't do it with Golden State already having that name locked down. I'm not opposed to the Warriors name. I like the Warriors name. I like the Golden State Warriors. But there's such an iconic NBA franchise. You can't just take that name.
that one. I'm a little less upset over that one because like the Razorbacks. I mean, I know that obviously the
But they're
Razorbacks has more
football,
sports
yeah.
than football, but they're a football team most notably.
Right.
At least the Warriors is basketball. It's not as much of a crossover. I agree. It's super iconic. It's hard to do, but it doesn't bother me as much because it's a different sport. I don't know if there's any real logic there.
No,
or
I
whatever.
I,
don't
actually,
need
I
logic
actually
in
agree.
this segment. So
I get what
actually
you're saying,
agree.
but I'm still opposed to it. It's like if you named them the Celtics. Like, come on, you can't do that.
I would give it a 6 out of
The
10.
name
just-
I get to
It just
9 out of
doesn't
10 for me.
bother
I like the name Warriors, but I don't think you can
Right.
do it.
I'm going
Yeah.
6 out of 10 as well. The Washington Wayfarers.
What is a Wayfarer?
You know, like the online furniture store.
Just
Wayfair.com.
Wayfaring stranger.
I don't know what
hate it.
maybe I'm sounding like an idiot here, but I don't know what a Wayfarer is, so
I don't
I'm
know.
not going to rate that one because I don't know.
I don't know either.
I think it's like a traveler.
I think it's
like
just a
like
general
traveling
term.
If
person.
that is true, then that name gets a 1 out of 10 for me because that's a terrible name for a football team. But I didn't know if it's some military thing or something. I don't know. I don't know what a Wayfarer
I don't
is.
know
so-
either. 1 out of 10. The Washington
look it up, just 'cause I
Wild Hogs.
What is with all these pigs? Well, this is like the third
The
pig
Washington
option.
Hogs, our offensive line used to be called the Hogs. So like Hogs is like built into
Oh,
Washington
okay.
football imagery. So that's why you keep seeing pigs come up. But I don't understand why you go Wild Hog. That's what a hog
Aren't
is.
hogs? Aren't hogs? I was gonna say, aren't they like by definition wild?
A hog is a wild
Yes.
pig.
I also so there's two things to me where they keep pushing and I think is maybe not necessarily the best decision. One, they're pushing the red a lot. It makes sense. I get why they're doing it, but they're pushing the red a lot. But they're also pushing W's for like the mnemonic value of Washington Wild
Yeah.
Hogs.
Yeah.
And stop doing that because it's stupid.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Stop. If you're gonna beat the Hogs, just
I'm
beat
gonna
the
give
Hogs.
that a
you know
0
what I
out
mean?
of 10 for the fact that it doesn't make sense. Like the name itself does not make sense.
Yeah, it's a 1 out
agree.
of 10 for me.
So-
That's bad. Also, I looked it up, and a Wayfarer is just a person who travels.
Okay, then
on
yeah, that's a
foot. So,
terrible
yeah.
name. I didn't know if it was some military thing that I didn't know about or something.
That kind of rounds out the list. The rest were like kind of same thing as before. So now, everyone give what you think the name should be and what the name will be.
Okay, I'll go first here because I'm very
Okay.
confident I know what it will be. So I think it should be the Red Tails. I am very confident that it is going to be the Generals or the President or some generic, terrible name like that. So I'm going to go Washington Generals. It's going to be something terrible like that.
Okay, I am going to do a 3-parter here. Okay, my favorite one on the list is the Red Wolves / the Wolves, whichever. Like I said, you can get rid of the W thing, but the
Washington Wolves
is get rid of the thing. I meant to say get rid of the red, not the W. Sorry. I like the Red Wolves the most on the list that we have. As someone who's not a Washington football team fan and never has been, I'm a big fan of total rebrand. Like, don't even have to stick to the red thing. You don't have to, like, keep to the imagery. Like, you could go for a total rebrand here. Change your colors. Change I am a proponent of that. Like, total rebrand here. But that's not going to happen. My gut tells me that he's going to go with something like the Washington Football Club or the First City
God.
Football Club. Like, one of those kinds of names. Like, that's what my gut
I can
says
see
that
that.
he's going to do. And that has my vote for prediction. On the list, it should be the Red Wolves, and I would vote for a total rebrand.
Okay.
I will.
I know.
I
That's
will
not
say
really
before
an option,
Jacob
but
takes
that's
us
just
home
my
as
opinion.
our resident Washington fan, I do think that this is the worst person possible to be picking a rebrand name.
Couldn't it be worse?
And
Couldn't be
also,
worse.
I do agree with Josh that I am a huge fan of total rebrands. I love when teams just completely blow it up and go different. And I was not really a fan of the colors of Washington before, so.
So
No, not at all.
Washington announced that the colors were going to remain. So
Right, I know they are. I was just saying I agree with Josh that I do like when teams completely blow it up because I didn't like the Washington colors in general. So
as a fan, I am very much so glad they're keeping the colors. I would have been bummed out if it was a total rebrand. It wouldn't feel like the same team anymore, and that's not what you want, I don't think. But Of course, I kind of already said it on the list. Red Wolves. I actually almost prefer the Washington Wolves. I think that's a little bit more mature, almost. That's kind of my pick. What I think Dan Schneider will pick is probably going to be something like the Warriors. I could see him sticking with like one of like the Washington football team club type things. I don't think he's going to go that right because he has Jason Wright as team president, who is not a proponent of those. And so I think we'll get a new name. I think Dan wants Warriors, and I would be surprised if we didn't end up as the Washington Warriors.
One you didn't say that I saw pushed around a lot that makes me want to vomit is the Washington Founders. That makes me want to vomit.
Founders,
brother.
Yeah, most of the names are horrible, and it's an interesting discussion almost with new team names. Is you almost can't pick a good one. It's gonna get made fun of almost no matter what, and
yeah, that's true.
Gotta kind of roll with that because they always sound a little middle schooly when they're on an island. But let us know what you guys think in the comments below. What do you think they will be named? They should be named. What do you think of the names that we went over today? Appreciate you guys watching. I know it's been a while, but keep an eye out for new videos because we're hitting the ground rolling again, and we're excited. So thank you guys for watching.
We'll see you guys.